On this episode of Political Personalities with Skye, we are in the Bronx. Hey! On this episode of Political Personalities with Skye, we are on Arthur Avenue in the Bronx, meeting with New York State Senator Gustavo Rivera, who is running for re-election here in a relatively new district as drawn by the new redistricting lines. He is the chair of the New York State Senate Health Committee, so we'll talk a little bit about that, as well as his favorite sights and sounds in the district. Okay, we are here on Arthur Avenue in the meat market with Senator Gustavo Rivera, who is right here, but he does not like taking selfies.
Do not.
So he is not here on the selfie stick?
I'm not even gonna look. So we are in the Arthur Avenue Marketplace, which is in the middle of the Arthur Avenue, the neighborhood of Belmont. It is near the heart of my district, and it is one of my favorite parts of my district. It is certainly, many neighborhoods in my district are like my children, right? I can't say which one is my favorite, but I like them all, and this is one of the places that I like a lot. This is a place that has a lot of stores, a lot of iconic locations. You have iconic bakeries and cheese shops and meat markets, etc. So you have a lot of folks that come in who don't live here anymore, but to come around. Bali!
This is my guy. This has been my guy, and advocate for us for the past 9 years that we've been in business here on Arthur Avenue. We have pictures of him celebrating with us on opening day. We got pictures of him last Saturday just hanging out with us. So
and
always good.
And you have way more. I'm probably gonna stop by and get a beer in a second.
All right, so we'll
It's
see
a
you
hot
guys
day.
inside.
This is
Get a
Paul
drink.
Ramirez
Say.
from the Ramirez Brothers owns Bronx Beer Hall, and they do fantastic work over here. As a community leader,
BX all day.
All BX all day. I describe myself not as a politician, but as a public servant. I remind folks that the politician is the guy that I defeated 11 years ago, who then served 6 years in federal prison for stealing public money after I defeated him. That's the politician. I like to think of myself as a public servant because ultimately the thing that I left constituents with when I was first running for office, the last thing that I told anybody that I met was the main difference between that guy and myself is that I'm not going to forget who I work for, and he has forgotten who he works for. Moises is the owner of this restaurant, and you'd be like, well, Moises doesn't look very Italian, and he's not. But the thing that I love about the story about this gentleman, he's a Mexican cat who worked in this restaurant at first being a busboy.
Yes.
¿Verdad?
Yes.
He started being a busboy, and he moved on to be a waiter, and he moved on to be head waiter, and then he started working in the kitchen. And then when the original owners of the restaurant were like, we don't know what we want to do with it, he's like, hey, why don't you sell it to me? And so now you have a brother here who runs a great restaurant on Arthur Avenue, Mexican cat, great Italian fare. This is the Bronx.
Tell us about some of the issues that are top of mind for people in the district or even across the state.
Well, so I'm the chair of the Health Committee in the Senate. One of the things that I care the most about is making sure that everybody has health care. Not just access to health care, but that everybody has guaranteed health care. And I believe that there's a way that we can do that. There's a piece of legislation that I sponsor called the New York Health Act. Because we're trying to do something that is so incredibly transformative, we're trying to fundamentally change the way in which healthcare is delivered. Right now, what people do is that they approach this as like, okay, how can I get the job that has the best insurance policy? And we think about this idea that to have good healthcare means to have good insurance, but that's not accurate. Insurance does not guarantee you healthcare. It guarantees you have insurance, but it doesn't actually give you real access to healthcare. We need to fundamentally change that. We need to take the insurance companies out of the equation, and to do that is something that is going to be incredibly difficult because there are entrenched interests that do not want this to happen. But I remain committed to it. I think that healthcare is a human right. We need to make sure that every single person, regardless of their age, their wealth, their immigration status, just because they're a human, that they have healthcare. And I believe that we can do it in the state of New York. I believe we have an obligation to do it here.